Hi, my name is Jamie Lynch, and you are listening to Eating Habits, my podcast about everything restaurants. I will explore the human element of the hospitality business, and I'll talk to the who's who in restaurants, explore their stories, and hear what's on their minds in the ever-changing landscape of the food and beverage industry.
Hi, this is John Matthews, and you're listening to Eating Habits.
Thanks, Bubs. Good job.
My pleasure.
You kind of do that like a wedding DJ. You have like a wedding DJ voice.
I thought about.
You have some. All right, let's describe the setting. So we're at Turtle's house. John Matthews is also Turtle. We'll tell the story about how you got that name here shortly.
All right.
But we're surrounded by all kinds of like DJ gear, speakers. There's like stereos and records and shit everywhere.
I like it that way.
Yeah,
It's all about sound.
it is all about sound. So you used to be a professional culinarian.
That's true.
And now you are what would you call you? Are you
I'm a licensed massage and bodywork therapist in the state of North Carolina.
and food enthusiast?
Food enthusiast. I still consider myself a chef.
Do you?
I do.
Oh, cool. Why?
I take feeding my family and my friends very seriously. I take the knowledge that I learned through many years and I apply that with everything I do with food.
Yeah.
It's a standard, a professional standard that I keep. It can get loose. Instant ramen can come out, but I try to do it with love.
But you also scale your coffee.
I do. Consistency.
So I would say that you still take it pretty seriously.
I do.
Somebody who gets the ratios of their ground to water temperature ratio conundrum
Yeah.
all in line.
I try to
serious.
Yeah, I try to source everything as well as I can, and for consistency, I will weigh my coffee every morning.
Let's tell people why you're here, right? So you and I met. You tell the story of how we met. We've known each other for how long have we fucking known each other?
I can't do the math.
Dude, it's a long time. So we probably met in 1996.
It was 96.
Okay, so 96 would be
New England. Yeah.
It's a
Was
lot.
that for 26 years? 26 years?
Yeah, it's a long time.
Longer.
It's longer than that.
Yeah.
Hold on. Okay, you tell the story. I'm gonna do the math.
We'll do the math. Yeah, we met at New Culinary Institute in Vermont.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember what our first block was, but
What?
you had come a couple days late, I feel like.
Maybe. I was there for the orientation. We met on the first day of orientation.
Is that what it was?
That's when it was. I think I maybe arrived that day to school. What did we say? That was 1996.
96.
26 years.
Yeah.
You got the
Okay,
math right.
wow.
Good job, dude.
I
You
still
still
got
got
it.
it. Yeah, you do. All right.
And I do remember introducing myself to you.
You did.
I believe I said my name was John.
Yeah.
And I think you said something to the effect, no, it's not. It's fucking Turtle.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what it seems like you
Yeah.
said.
It was
And
something like
yeah,
that.
it's stuck. It's a way of life. Even with the video games we were playing this morning with the family, I was the turtle.
You're
I
always
was the character.
you're either the turtle character,
My achievement was slowest.
which is exactly how you earned the
Yeah.
name.
Yeah.
So the way I recall it is it was like it wasn't like an auditorium, but it was like a big, almost like a banquet room or something. And all the students were standing around. We might have been in our goofy set. Were we in our goofy get-ups yet?
We were in our whites.
Yeah, in our whites with the hats and the whole
Yeah.
shebango, which I am going to attach some pictures
Excellent.
that you shared
Those
of
are
our
great.
day. Yeah,
Those are great.
Yeah, so people
That's a
can see
great
what
blast from the past.
idiots
Yeah.
we look like. But and they were going over like how the year was going to go down, right? They were like, okay, this is how it's broken up. You guys will be in groups of 7 or whatever. And you had introduced yourself to me, and you had this very slow Southern drawl.
Yes, that's true.
Yes. And I was like, and I'm from New York, and I was like, what the fuck is this guy doing? Like, he's taking forever to get through the introduction.
Yeah.
And I was like, the turtle.
Although I was born in New York,
Yeah.
I did spend a lot of time.
You were born in New York City,
That's right.
actually.
That's right. Upper West Side.
Yeah, that did not stick with
No,
you
it did
at
not.
all. That
It's in my soul,
yes, it is.
but my voice says something different.
Yeah, your cadence is very slow and measured.
Yes.
The funny thing is that your mom calls you Turtle.
She does.
Like your
so.
family calls you Turtle. Like that was a name that just, I think it embodied just who you are.
I agree.
You totally embraced it too.
Yeah. I am soft on the inside
Hard on the outside, soft and gooey on the inside.
and slow.
And slow. All right, so we met the first day of culinary school in 1996. That's over a quarter century ago.
Yeah. Crazy.
Bizarro. Why were you there?
I was there because I love food. I loved the excitement of restaurants. And honestly, I couldn't find a thing that I wanted to do in other realms of possibilities. And like many a kid in high school, started working at a food service establishment. The fine people at this country's best yogurt employed me. And that began the journey. That was when I was 16. There was something that bit me even then.
Was it TCBY?
That's right.
You know who else worked there?
Who?
That guy right there.
Ian MacKay?
Yep. Swear to God, I saw him at a TCBY working in Georgetown
That's crazy.
when I was in high school.
That's great. So, well, we had Keith Morris from the Circle Jerks come in.
Oh, that's yeah.
He I don't know why he was in for some family thing,
Yeah.
and we immediately recognized him, and we're like, "Hey," he was like, "Shh."
I met him at Tang Records in Boston.
Oh, really?
I was in Boston going into Tang Records to pick up some Mighty Mighty Bosstones records.
Yes.
And he was behind the counter working at
No
Tang
way.
Records as like the music store geek. And I walked in and he had like dreadlocks down to the floor. And I was like, the guy I was with, I was like, that's fucking Keith Morris, isn't
Right.
it? And Keith was like, yeah. He was like, I'm that guy. I was like, get the fuck out of here. Yeah, I was like, I love your shit. You work in a record store, right?
I mean,
It was one of those moves.
that's great.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. All right. Anyways.
Yeah, and so that was kind of a start. I ended up in New England Culinary Institute. After a couple years of college, I was working in restaurants and found myself having more fun in the restaurant that I was working in. I liked the theater of it. I liked the pace. It was something I could really throw myself into and kind of get lost in service.
Mm-hmm.
I really worked with my personality, the excitement, the tangible reward of a successful service. It was
Mhm.
like immediate gratification,
Mm-hmm.
and I could use my hands, and I love that aspect of it.
Did you have like your mom's a pretty good cook? She
is.
Shay rocks the family style.
She is.
I-
She is direct lineage of Paul Prudhomme and Julia Childs.
Okay.
I would say equally.
Yeah.
When we lived in Louisiana, she got into cooking lessons to help supplement our income, and fully embraced Louisiana's finest cooking, and we had great neighbors. My dad was a Episcopal priest, So all the people from the church would always have dinners together, and my mom cooked every night. She cooked for parties. It was required to be at the dinner table every night, and we had you know, all the standards that kids grow up with. But
What were the standards?
standards like,
I don't know. I was from New York, and my parents cooked mac and cheese out of a box. Man, I don't know what was standard for
it
you.
was like standard, like a London broil with
Yeah.
a little side salad and a baked potato,
Mhm.
or teriyaki chicken breasts, turkey tetrazzini. But then she would also do some of these great Louisiana centric dishes, gumbo, crawfish etouffee, things that were a little foreign but delicious. And we really got into those things, and as we got older, those flavors became more important. But she was always trying new things with us too. I remember the first time we ever had like mesclun mix or something, and that was grown out of somebody's garden. That wasn't something that was in
In the store. Yeah. I don't think it
in the
existed
early
in the
80s. Yeah.
that wasn't in the
No,
store.
it
then.
wasn't. But all these things that were kind of either being farmed or traded amongst neighbors, hunters as well. We got our first experience with like game, with duck, with venison, different sausages that people would bring by. So that was like the first real exposure to that kind of regional cuisine.
Do you think that time of your life, because you were young when you guys lived in Louisiana, right?
Yeah, Louisiana was
You were
through the 80s, pretty much.
So you were what, like 5 to
Six, probably like 6. Yeah, 6 to 5 to 10, 5 to 11.
Gotcha. Do you feel like that time frame kind of stuck somewhere in the crevices of your culinary brain? I feel like it did, but I don't. I want to hear it from you, because we've talked a lot. I mean, even on the line, just like, and we'll talk about that a little bit later, just like us working together and stuff. But like you and I would just bullshit constantly, just chatting and talking. I feel like New Orleans comes up a bit, and so I'm wondering if you have like food memories and those kind of things that resonated with you, that kind of pushed you towards wanting to play with your food.
Yeah, I think so. I think it was.
And your mom was like a hospitalitarian.
Yeah,
too. Like, she was always about taking care of people.
That's really that's really where the love of food, I think, came from. I think our first exposure to like really good food was in Louisiana, in this culture of eating with friends and family, and it not just being something that you did every night just to fill your belly. It was a celebrated time.
It's not a survival thing. It's like it's a communal thing where everybody gets together.
Very strong community in Louisiana, and then from entertaining with the church, and my mom and dad are just naturally gregarious, welcoming folks. So that was a big part of it, was seeing them extend their love, their care to their friends by entertaining them. I think that was what really set the tone, even into high school years, knowing that food could be shared and people would appreciate it and be thankful. And I love that aspect of it, and even started in college when I left home, cooking random things for girlfriends, friends, parties, things that I learned from my mom, who was adamant about making sure I knew how to cook, which I'll do for my son. I think everybody should know how to do that. They should know how to feed themselves, make a few dishes at least before they leave home. And it's a great thing for kids to do, to be a part of that whole process, to understand what it's like to shop and feed, and the work that it takes and the care. that gets lost in translation these days, but I still feel that's an important part of life and living. But that was great in college to be able to, whip up something and have people praise you for it.
Right.
It was that praise that,
right. Because your friends in college, all they can do is boil a oodle of noodle or whatever.
I can do the oodles and noodles, and that's about it. But
you cook up like a chicken stew or something, or a braise or soup or something
absolutely,
from scratch, and they're
exactly.
like, "What the hell?"
Or even
like, what
even,
are you, a wizard?
Even like even stuff going like, a Stouffer's lasagna with a salad.
Yeah.
Is like light years beyond what most kids were eating. You know, a lot of fast food and stuff. And so like
you went to college before Necky.
Yeah, for a little bit.
Where did you go? Where did you go to college initially?
Lees-McRae, also known as Lead-em-Astray. It's a small liberal arts college in the mountains of North Carolina, and I was not mature enough to make a place there. And that didn't last long.
How long were you there?
Probably a year.
Yeah.
And then did some community college after that, while working at the restaurants, just trying to figure out like what is it that I want to do,
mm-hmm.
and all the time working at restaurants,
right? Because you had to put gas in your car and
and I mean, and some of those were we'll call them humble beginnings, things like Taco Bell.
Mm-hmm.
Yo quiero. Backyard Burger.
Mm-hmm. I've never eaten at one of those.
They were pretty good.
They're still,
and they had
a couple around.
Yeah, they had the one in Boone was great. They had a great staff. They really took care of us. It's actually like run by a family, so that was nice. And then Casa Rustica was the restaurant that
was not fast food.
Fast food.
It was like more of a real kitchen, the way that we would think of a
That's right.
operating kitchen with, cooks and, a fry station and a
classic American Italian establishment, but everything from scratch.
Yeah.
That was definitely the place that sparked the interest in restaurants. The chef's name was Marty Sheftel. And
what a sweet name for a chef!
It was
right?
It was born to do this. And he was really great. He was patient. The line cooks were actually really helpful and took their time to show me how to do something correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And worked my way up through stations as quickly as I could and did as much as I could wherever they needed me. They actually offered to send me to culinary school if I would return. But I didn't want to be holden to
having to return.
Anyone. Yeah. We found out about New England Culinary Institute. We had a father and son who were dentists and the church that my dad was at, and they left their practice to go to New England Culinary Institute. And,
interesting.
And I was just, after the folks at Casa Rustica said, we could send you here, you can do this. I had never even thought about that. And then my dad was like, hey, these guys had been to New England Culinary Institute. Why don't you talk to them? And I did, and just sounded like a great model to really immerse yourself in cooking.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something you could really pursue. And I guess this is before all the Food Network stuff.
Yes.
This was still just like
I don't think the Food Network existed yet.
No,
I don't
just
know when
a vocational school.
Mm-hmm.
It was a great career opportunity. Like, people are always eating, guaranteed job. This is great. I love to cook. This sounds like the perfect kind of place. And went up and visited, and it was cold. It really appealed to me. So that's how I ended up at New England Culinary.
1993. So it was new.
It was new.
Food Network started in 1993.
Oh, wow.
So
did you ever see? I don't think
no.
I remember seeing.
So my first dose of like professional cooking was watching Great Chefs of
I don't know if I
America
remember it.
on
Oh,
PBS.
Yes.
Yes. That was and that's what got me going. I was like, okay. I like this. What is this about? Right? Because I didn't know what good food was. My folks still don't they don't cook. They didn't cook when we were young. I didn't know what good food was, but I was fascinated. I don't know how, after school or something, I think I stumbled across this PBS thing and I was like, interesting. And I was into it.
Is that what sparked it for you?
I think so. Well, I think what sparked it, that's what got me interested, at least put it on the radar where I was like, oh, that's something that people do.
Gotcha.
Right?
That is a
yeah, this is like a job that you can get. But my first gig was at that bar and grill where I was a dishwasher, and that's what got me. It was the kitchen life. It was like that the cooks were like eating mushrooms and they're like, woo, we're fucking rock and roll. I was like, this is amazing. Like, I want to be a pirate like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It was like pirate punks.
Yeah.
That was the appeal.
Yes.
Yes.
I was like, I'm going to do this for my life.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just going to be a druggy party animal, rock it out all night with the team and then get fucked up underage.
Right.
I was like, this is amazing.
Yes.
But, and that was great. That was a great introduction.
Right.
And then it morphed into a lot more than that.
A lot more.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about the culinary school experience for you. I thought Necky was great.
I thought it was great too.
Yeah. I hear some people tell stories about their culinary school experiences and tons of students in classes. It's like regimented stuff. And we had a lot of strict rules.
Very, very, very strict in a lot of ways. Almost militaristic. What is the word?
Sure.
That's whatever
that works.
Brigade.
Yeah, it was totally a brigade. Yeah.
Iron clothes.
Yeah.
Shine shoes.
Shaved.
If
you didn't shave, they were like, you had to go into the bathroom with a dry disposable razor and rake the hair off your face.
Undershirts.
Yeah. White undershirts.
I won't say the man's name who actually pinched my nipple, went into my jacket because I didn't have an undershirt on.
Oh, that's so awful.
Yeah, it was.
You would get sued for that,
right.
dude. You would never have to work
That's
again.
Why I will
these
not
days.
say this man's name.
Oh my God, I love it.
Yeah.
So it was super strict, right? Like you had to be on time, you had to be pressed, polished, shoes polished, shaved, the whole kit, or else you were gone.
That's right.
And there had a 100% attendance policy, which means you could never not be excused or else you failed.
Yep.
So any absence had to be excused by the head of the culinary department, right? For whatever reason. I have a story about that.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. I think were you there?
I don't know. No, tell me about this.
This was Jane's Addiction. Second year.
Okay. After we had been in San Francisco.
And somebody that we knew was dancing for Jane's Addiction.
Okay.
We'll have to get to this story.
All right.
So anyways, I made up a story I can't say. I hope none of them are listening.
I know.
So they're going to call me up and be like, oh, really?
Oh.
But anyways, I made up a story that somebody in my family had passed so that me and my girlfriend at the time could go to Boston.
Was that Chef Dean that you had to spin that story to? Okay.
Yes. And so I spun the story.
The dean, right?
Right. It was the dean. It was the dean.
All right.
The dean, Chef Dean. And so I had to go back to Boston. I had to go back to Boston for this funeral, but it was actually because we had backstage passes to Jane's Addiction that was given to us to one of the strippers that was dancing for them, who was our neighbor in San Francisco.
Yes.
Okay, people. So fast forward. Turtle and I were roommates during our internships in San Francisco.
That's right.
For culinary school. At which point we rented an apartment next door to a stripper and her tattoo artist boyfriend.
Yes.
Who would tattoo me in the apartment and all kinds of we would just hang out and get stoned and whatever. It was wild and amazing.
It was a wild time.
Well, she ended up getting picked up on the Jane's Addiction tour as a dancer.
Nice.
Did you not go to that?
I did not go to that. I only got to see those guys once.
Did I ask you to go to that?
I don't know.
Because why the hell did I go and you didn't?
That's a good question. I don't remember. But
Because you were closer to Dusty than I was.
Yeah. Well, she taught me how to dance on the stairwell out in front of the building. There was conveniently 2 large poles that you could swing around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you practice out there?
I did.
That doesn't surprise me.
I'm pretty good.
I remember one night, I think it was after work. I think we were sitting on the stoop out there smoking and drinking like growlers of beer or something.
Yeah, those mudslides.
Those crappy ass mudslide. That's exactly right.
Vodka, yeah.
And I think we were like both bitching about like work or whatever. And I was fucking around with my Libre. Remember I had that piercing in my face and the ball fell off and fucking rolled down the hill. It's San Francisco. Everybody's it's just like ping, 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 like just gone down to the tenderloin. Yeah. It's just
I'm not going after it one way or another. No amount of disinfectant could wash that thing anyway.
I think that was it. I think I took it out. Then I was like, all right, well, I'm done with this. Moving on.
Yeah.
Anyways. Okay. So culinary school, it was super strict, a lot of rules, but the classes were like small. We had 7 students in a class. They called them blocks, I think, right?
Blocks, yeah.
And then we moved through the different departments of the school together.
Yeah.
Right?
Which was great. I mean, what a great
way
team. to learn how each, restaurant, cafe, fast service, hotel, bake shop,
banquets.
You went through all the roles too.
Yeah.
You might be washing dishes one day.
I mean, I wash dishes on the weekend sometimes for extra money. I was actually, that's how I got my start, and I'm not above it. I remember there were students in there like, I'm not working in the pit. I was like, dude, they pay you to go in there. I was like, I'll go in there.
Go wherever the money. Go wherever the money is.
Yeah.
I mean, the dishwashing. I mean, that's what I did at Casa Rustica, and
it led you to where you are today.
And not only that, to see the owner of that restaurant come help me out with a cigar in his mouth.
I remember. Yes.
That showed a solidarity that I always respected and looked for in restaurants, I think. And there is a camaraderie that you're really in it together as a team. Necky showed that was a great way to do it, how to do it, and have ownership over it, be responsible. And I can't say enough good things about the school. I hate that it closed.
Yeah. That sucks.
I think it had such a great model.
Yeah, I feel like it to me, and I didn't go to CIA, but I went to culinary school in Baltimore previous to Necky.
Right, for like a
year?
For
2 semesters.
Okay.
So I was there for, I think it was like 8 or 9 months I was there.
Why did
I fucking hated it.
Okay.
I hated Baltimore, first of all. Like I lived in a shitty ass fucking apartment.
Yeah.
And so I fucking hated it. I was like, what am I doing here? Like, I don't even belong here. And the school was like, I didn't feel the professionalism there. I felt like they were just grinding people out. Like, come here, take the class, get the fuck out of here, take your money and go. Right. I didn't feel an investment from the instructors that they were there to teach you anything.
Okay.
They had a syllabus that they had to, whatever. Right. That's how I felt. And so I kind of dropped out. I was like, I'm out of here. I ended up working in Baltimore for a few until I went back to Boston. But I still was into the cooking thing. I was like, I want this to work, but like whatever. And then got introduced to Necky.
How'd that happen?
So my younger brother, Corey, his girlfriend at the time had attended school there.
Okay.
And her mother was like, her mother was somehow related to like the food literacy like magazine, like Food and Wine or something, some sort of editor or something, contributor, I don't know, something like that. So she was at the culinary school and Corey had told me, hey, have you heard of this? And I was like, no. He said, well, why don't you go up there, stay with Vanessa and like whatever. she could show you around or whatever. So I went up and checked it out. I was like, this seems pretty cool.
Vanessa, was that did she have dreads?
Yes.
Is that the okay.
That was, yes.
Okay.
So she was my connection to like how I learned that was a thing and that we could go there.
Okay.
So I went back and I was like, that's pretty cool. Like, I liked what I saw. I liked the town. I was like, I'll give it a shot, see if I can get in. So
yeah.
So I went.
It was a great experience there, and I wish more vocational schools would adopt that program. I think that could really help out. With real world.
Right, and I think that's the great thing about it is that first of all, it was so you had to be committed to get through the program.
That's right.
You didn't have to be like a rock star or like whatever. You just had to be committed. You have to show up. You had to do what was asked of you. Like it really enforced that part of the work ethic.
Yeah.
Right. That you can't just like, show up part way and, and get through. The attendance part was the hardest part.
Yeah.
Like
I remember trying to wake you up many a time.
Yeah. Yeah. Being on time was not. Dude, thanks for driving me all these years. By the way, you know what? I don't think I've ever thanked you for that, man. You know what? Like, if it weren't for you, I probably wouldn't be here today. Honestly.
You're welcome.
Yeah, dude. Like, so you had a car.
I did.
I don't think I had a car the first.
Yeah, the blown out suspension.
Yeah. That thing was a beast in the snow and the ice. It was just like sliding everywhere.
Yeah.
But anyways, thank you for that. Cool. Yeah. So Turtle and I were in the same block. We would ride to school together. I mean, we spent a lot of time together.
A lot of time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think there was a common thread. We both like punk rock.
Mm-hmm.
We like drinking.
We were good at it too.
Yeah. And cooking, we got along. That was you get pretty tight with those guys. You're with 6 other folks, and you're with them. What,
the whole
10, 12 hours?
Right, and that was another interesting part about it, is that it's like our school day was like we would show up and usually do like an hour or something of like lecture and talk about whatever the thing of the day was, right? Mm-hmm. And then it was like into the kitchen or into the the banquet thing or into whatever to whatever class we were doing. And you spent all day there prepping, cooking, whatever you were doing, like a legit restaurant or hotel, to really set you up for being in the real world.
Yeah. And
also like what it's going to be like to have a team.
Yeah.
And having to like carry people. I mean, there were certain people that we would have to like help along the way.
Yeah.
Right. Cause like, it's not like if they went down during service, like service was going down for everybody.
Yeah. These were paying.
These
were paying customers.
Yeah. It wasn't
people
like
that
students
came to these establishments. Yeah. It wasn't like, oh, we're gonna, we're gonna cook for the school cafeteria. These are people coming from all over the community to
support the program.
Stay at the boutique hotel, the bakery, all the extensions they had.
So then you and I went to San Francisco.
Yeah.
So part of our program is we had to do 2 internships.
Yes.
We did our first year internship in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And you worked at where?
Farallon.
Is Farallon still there?
I think they closed maybe right before COVID happened. I think they had a 20-year run, but that was all Emily Luschetti, those Brad Parker, a lot of the stars and provisions, people that came out of that whole, California cuisine. Alice Waters kind of started just kind of derivative of that, but Farallon was a great seafood restaurant.
And you were part of the opening team for that.
Yeah.
Because I remember when we got to San Francisco, it was not open.
No. As you know, with restaurant construction, when they say 3 months, when they say it's actually 6 months, when they say a year, it's 2 years. You can't really ever tell. And we were doing anything we could to put that restaurant together. Beautiful, though. It was like Pat Cletto designed it. It was like 2,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
Yeah,
meets fine dining.
There was like I remember there was like all kinds of like glass like mosaic. Was it like mosaic-y or was it like
Yeah, they had
it was like colored glass?
colored glass. They had
very-
I mean, the hoods were bronze fish scales, sea urchin, lighting fixtures, huge chandeliers.
That was like the hot shit
frescoes.
restaurant for
Yeah.
that year because I remember like that's all people were talking about in San Fran because
Yeah,
it was like the big opening for
yeah,
that
it was
year.
it was a great restaurant, great product was just amazing. That was, I think, my first exposure to like superior product.
Yeah, like
Sourced,
super fine
locally
dining.
sourced. People like, in California at that point they were foraging. They
Yeah.
were really established connections. I don't think they were there on the East Coast quite like that yet.
No.
That the farm to table thing definitely had not
No.
taken off, but it was firmly rooted
Yeah.
in California, and that what a great exposure to that kind of.
I mean, Chez Panisse was already like the hot spot at that point.
Oh yeah,
like Alice Waters was already
like from the
yeah,
mid 70s.
she was
yeah.
solidified as like the queen of like fresh food, and that was only 30 miles away or something.
Yeah,
or
over
45
there
miles
in Berkeley,
Yeah.
and all the people that had come
So-
through her kitchen,
Yeah, were working
that
in the
was
cities.
exactly.
were down
she
there.
she gave those people the seeds to plant all over
Mm-hmm.
town, and metaphorically and literally. That was really cool happening place. Yeah.
So we return back to Necky, finish up the second year. Where did you do your second internship? I don't remember.
The Woodlands.
That's right. You went to the
Which
Woodlands.
was over in your neck of the woods now,
Mhm.
over in Somerville.
Mm-hmm.
So I think 15-20 minute ride outside of Charleston, and it was an interesting experience. One I would not care to repeat. The chef at the time, I won't mention his name. He's a Italian guy who trained in Hong Kong. Great skills as a culinarian, and that's about where that stopped. And interesting place. So it was a boutique hotel. It was a 5-star Land Chateau property, which not a lot of those in the U.S. And it was like since it's gone, it's only get some kind of tax write-off or something. I mean, I think the food costs, were 150% or something. It was insane.
Yeah.
Like they were using $150 bottles of Barolo for like just their
deglaze
deglaze
a pan.
Yeah, I mean, no expenses. Sphere was like Versace meets Safari, just really eccentric, eclectic property. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
But I
you did not have a great experience.
Did not have a great experience.
Did you learn a lot of
I learned
good
a lot.
cooking stuff?
I think I learned a lot more about interpersonal skills.
What not to do.
What not to do. What to do. But I did learn some great techniques, great exposure to food.
And so you didn't stick around there after?
I did not.
So the cool thing about how the school went is that usually you would go back to the campus for like the second year, and then your second internship would line up with your leaving, like the end of your program, so you could stay on,
Right.
Which is what I ended up doing in New York. I ended up staying on at Le Cirque after my internship, and then went back to school for graduation, whatever it was. Right? Did you not stay at the Woodlands after?
No.
You were like, I'm fucking out of here.
No, I left there. I thought about staying in the area, but at the time it was, some of the places are still in Charleston. They're there, like Snobs and all that stuff that's been there for years, and it was happening, but it wasn't quite happening yet.
Mm-hmm.
It was
like the
world
old
renowned.
Yeah, so the old staples were there.
Yeah. So, and I was like a little bit lonely down there. So I did want to come back to North Carolina, kind of to be kind of near my sisters at that point. And they were like, we've got an apartment. One sister was in college. The other one was just working. And so I moved in with Libby and Sarah and started looking for jobs at that point. And I think the first thing I found was Dean and DeLuca.
Yeah, out at South Park.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, which was, great for all kinds of different departments. You could learn about 500 different kinds of cheeses.
Yeah.
I loved working in the butcher department. I mean, just the sheer amount of like crate fish, which I knew a lot of from Farallon.
Yeah.
And so that knowledge really came in handy. And Chef Charles Samal, who's still around, he was the chef at the time.
He's running like a catering gig.
He runs a catering
right?
gig now,
Yeah.
but he really took good care of me and took me under his wing and let me try out a bunch of different departments, and always kept it interesting for me. He was a really good guy. And when Dean and DeLuca kind of started going downhill, he was the first to alert me to
look for
new employment.
Yeah.
And that was the Meeting House was the next
that's right.
place for that. And that was a hip new little restaurant over kind of Myers Park area.
I think you were working there. Were you working there when I moved here? Were you there in 2002?
Yeah, 2002.
I think you were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was kind of maybe at the end of that that ride there. Or no, I stayed for a while.
So the Meeting House was like, it was like a neighborhood joint. It was kind of like a chef owned and operated, New American, like used some farms, local farms and stuff.
Yeah, they were really starting to get into that, and it wasn't fine dining by any means, but a lot of those same
approaches to food
and service, care and attention on both sides
but
of the
not
house.
Stuffy. Like it was casual, it was friendly, it was like
it was almost like let's go have dinner here. You'd have your older clientele that would come in early and get a great bottle of wine, some good food, and then it turned into like party time. The bar down there. There's definitely stories there, but that was a cool little house.
I think a lot of people have stories probably about that bar.
A lot do,
because I've heard stories, not from you, from other chefs and people around
other chefs. There were restaurant owners, younger folks back in the day, who went on to be restaurant owners.
Who got a taste of their vibe, the party vibe.
The party vibe, yes.
At that bar.
Yeah, the whole meet me in the bathroom vibe was strong there. Filthy socialites and mixed with restaurant folks after hours, and it was a special place. It's fun. Yeah.
So at that point, where were you at in your kind of culinary journey? Were you a sous chef for him?
Ended up being sous chef.
Was that your first sous chef gig?
Yeah. First sous chef gig. They split off. It was two owners, and they
kind of parted ways.
They opened up a second restaurant. Onio was the Christopher Zion had opened that one, and I think they were still both together at that point. They did split ways eventually. Shane Lewis opened up Southern Comforts, I think was the first restaurant that he did after the split, and everything I think dissolved shortly after that. But
where were you at in your journey at that point? Like, because then from there, where did you end up at Blue next?
No, I didn't. I actually ended up at the Charlotte Convention Center.
Oh, that's right. I totally blocked that out. Have you
was
blocked that out?
I did block it out, but I was so fucking ready to get out of this tiny kitchen that had no ventilation. I literally would be standing in a pool of my own sweat in my Birkenstocks.
Yeah.
Because you would be sweating so much.
Yeah.
You know, I probably lost 15 pounds working in that kitchen. You know, there was no, you didn't even have a screen on the door. It's just like bugs would come in and the hood systems. But there was, so I said, I want to do something like
totally different.
So
how much more different?
What's it like to feed 5,000 people at one time?
What's it like to cook on a conveyor belt?
A conveyor belt. I mean, it was, and that was a pretty cool experience. Actually, to see that aspect of the business, and I think that helped round out understanding production and systems, because when you're feeding that many people at a time, it's just, I mean,
you have to have a system.
I used to travel on longboard down to the walk-in coolers at the end of the night.
I'm going to get the cream.
Yeah, I've got to check on 11 different coolers, and it's the size of like half a block or whatever. You're just like oh my god,
a giant stadium.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. I could never do that, man. I would lose my fucking mind.
Yeah, I mean, making like 500 pounds of scrambled eggs at once or whatever. It's fucking nuts. It's
gross.
Crazy. It is gross. It's gross as shit.
Yeah, it's just gross.
I'll never do that again.
No. So how long were you at the convention center? Was that like a year or two?
Probably like a year.
Yeah.
And then I was done with that. And I caught wind actually. So luckily it had another Bill Cahill. He told me to go see Gene, and I think he and Gene Briggs had crossed paths or whatever on friendly terms and in the whole chef scene, and he said, I hear they're opening up a restaurant, and you're doing great here, but I can tell you're not loving this. So I was like, yeah. It's like I appreciate it, and that's when I finally went and talked to Gene over at Blue,
and was that a sure thing? Like when you interviewed with Gene, were you in?
I was in from my perspective. I liked what Gene had to say. I liked his vibe. The restaurant at that time was beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
It was like
we hadn't beaten it to shit yet.
It had not been beaten.
It was still.
Oh my god! I had no idea of
the
path that we would walk, but it was, it seemed like a sure thing. Like I feel like I made a good impression on Gene, and he liked my resume and the variety of things that I had done.
Mm-hmm.
Felt like I could bring some good, solid experience. He may disagree, but I think it was good.
No, I think I'm trying to recall back because I interviewed him for the pod, and I believe that he was, I can't remember what he said, but you can go back and listen. But I think he was like, he was sold. He was sold on you and Ben straight away.
Yeah.
I think the other guy, we're not going to name names.
Right.
This starts with a D.
Right.
Where he was not. He ended up hiring and was kind of regretting, I think.
Yeah,
I think that was like a big.
I think he might have, done. Yeah, like, I don't know if he just wanted to, blanket in anticipation of like the busy nights that would come to us,
right?
Because that place was rocking.
Yeah. And that's when you came and got me.
Yeah.
Because you guys opened. I think where was I?
Can't remember how long we were open. You were in New York.
No, I was here. I was down here. I was working at
No, where? Oh yeah, Dish.
It might have been a Dish at that point.
Okay.
Because when I moved down here, you were at the convention center. I ended up coming to live with you.
Yes.
Remember, I slept on your couch.
Yes.
I actually took over your house when you moved out.
Yes.
I actually just became a fixture of that house.
Nice.
Until you left.
Yes.
I was like, are you guys going to move out so I can stay here? Remember?
Yeah, that was on Pecan?
Pecan.
Yeah.
At Pecan House. So I ended up staying there. So point being is that I had worked at Ethan's.
Yes.
Over there.
Yeah,
and
with Mark.
Yep.
That's right.
With Mark Martin. And then I went to help out the team at Dish because they were opening and their chef like flaked on them or something.
Yeah.
And so they're like, hey, we need a chef. And I was like, all right, I'll step in. So I did that like for a while, but that was not me at all. Like that was that was an opportunity for me to like do something.
I mean, whatever you touch turned to gold, Pubs.
Thanks, Pubs.
It was.
Well, I
remember eating there those times. Whenever you went, when you were at Ethan's.
Yep.
Great meals.
Yeah, thanks.
When you were at Dish, great meals. You always elevated.
Yeah.
Wherever you went.
Well, this is the only thing I know how to do, because that's all I worked. Right. I'm like, this is how it's supposed to. I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You guys are half-assing this. That's not right.
You got a full ass.
You got to fucking pull your full ass in and make that.
That's where the flour comes from.
Yeah. So I was at Dish when you came a knocking.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
I kind of remember it. I was like, and I can't remember what prompted me to come to you, but
you guys were getting your fucking asses kicked.
I was like, it must have been out of necessity.
Yeah. I believe that the meeting actually happened at Dish, at the bar at Dish. And I think I was drinking heavily. And you're like, this is my opportunity.
That's probably correct.
Yeah. And I think it went something like, it was like, dude, we're getting our fucking asses kicked. And our line is a fucking shambles.
That was the sentence. Yeah.
Yeah. And you're like, I need you. You say you let it off like something because it was like me taking another step back, right? It was like a whole nother like, all right, I'm going to go back and be a line cook basically because there was no sous chef gigs.
Right. At the time,
right,
there was not an opening for that.
Right. So you're like, look, it's not that.
I do remember saying that to Gene.
Yeah.
That I had a very experienced person in mind.
Yeah.
But did not think he would want to based on
where he's at.
Yeah.
And I remember you said something like, you're like, look, this is a long shot. I want to whatever. And I think I told you, I was like, or maybe this is me remembering wrong, but like, I was kind of like, whatever, like, as long as the pay's good, I'll fucking do it.
That was the bottom line.
Yeah, I was like, how much are you gonna pay me?
Paid.
Yeah, you gonna pay me?
Yeah,
I was like, you can pay me to bang, and I'll fucking go in there and I'll do it.
That's right.
Because and the funny thing is that, and so thank you for that opportunity.
Yep.
Because at the time, and I look back at all this stuff, when I moved to Charlotte, it was a huge culture shock for me. Coming from like, I was a sous chef in a 3-star restaurant in New York. Like I had fucking chops, right?
Right.
And I came here and I couldn't get a fucking job in like a chef-driven restaurant. I think because people were intimidated by my resume. Yeah. They were like, "Oh, this guy's better than me," or whatever. Like whatever.
Right. Yeah, a lot of people don't want to hire somebody that's better than them because they know they'll be replaced.
Right. And so for me, that was like a huge. Like I was like super depressed. I was like, "What the fuck have I done?" Like I made this huge mistake. I'm in the South. I don't belong here. My world in New York was over because of 9/11. Like I had to get away from all that. I was like, I just have to be away because that's depressing. Yeah. And so, and I think by the time you had come to me with that proposition, I had decided already, like I went to work with Mark. I was like, I'm just going to start over. I was like, I'm going to put my fucking head down and I'm going to show these assholes how to cook. I was like, I'm not going to come in here and like, I'm the chef that's going to like, I was like, I'm just going to fucking bang. And people are just gonna be like, oh shit. Okay, that's how it's done. And so when you gave me that opportunity, I was like, you know what? Okay, no responsibility. I think I was getting paid $14 an hour, which at the time was very good.
So it's pretty good.
Back then it was really good.
Yeah.
That was, when was that? 2004?
Yeah.
Ish.
Something like that. There was like
some half
decent benefits and like,
I don't remember any benefits.
I
don't know if I got those. Did I? I don't know. It didn't matter.
Health insurance.
It didn't matter.
Everybody could get health insurance at least back then.
I don't know if I had
for
that
like 50 bones a month.
Oh, I don't think I was going to pay that at that point. I think I was trying to die back then.
Me.
Yeah, I was like, I'm just going to drink myself to death. Like,
I'm not going to make it anyway.
Yeah, why would I waste my $50 on that?
Buy a lot of beer with that.
Exactly. But I think that's why I did that. I was like, yes. And not only that, it was the most like realistic kitchen to where I had come from in New York
Right.
that was happening at the time,
Gotcha.
and working with you and Ben and Gene.
Yeah, people that
Like-
knew the nomenclature and
Yeah.
product and professionalism and
The
all this.
camaraderie,
Yeah.
like our team was baller.
It was pretty dope.
Gene is the luckiest chef, maybe in the world. You know what I mean?
We'll have to ask him about it.
I did.
He is pretty lucky. He's a fucking lucky guy.
But I mean, his opening team was basically you, Ben Miles, who's now like, he runs, I think, Wolfgang's stuff now.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You picked up me.
Yeah.
I wasn't even a sous chef, but I was like I was training all the line guys and working on the line. So like, he had a pretty sweet team.
He did.
Like, I want that team.
And the crew.
Yeah.
Those.
Oh yeah. So Alvaro works for me now. Currently.
Oh really?
Yes.
No way.
He's got no hair. Alvaro.
Is
He
his
used to
dog
have.
gone?
Huh?
He's lost it all.
It's like shaved.
Okay.
But it's like it's like
Yeah.
it's a little balding.
Yeah.
But he looks great.
Yeah.
But he's a fucking banger, dude.
He's
like
always
still,
been-
dude.
yeah.
He comes in and
All
he
those-
just like hammers out 350 covers without losing a skip.
That's great.
It's amazing.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, he came back. He started working for me about 6 months ago.
Okay.
Here at
Awesome.
CU. You gotta go. Yeah.
Yeah, tell him I
He's
said
the
hi.
best.
That's amazing.
I will.
He was so and all the brothers, man.
Yeah.
God, they were so. All those Castro brothers were so good. They're such good cooks, man.
Yeah.
Such
Yeah, they're good.
cooks.
So we worked at you were there. Was that your last?
No.
What was your so
So
I want to get to your decision to leave
okay. Yeah,
culinary. So we had a long run there. I think we all worked there
so
for
it's
like 6 or 7 years.
7 years.
We were
And,
all there.
Yeah,
We opened table with them.
Yeah, and
Like
and
there was all this stuff. Like we were just all a part
that
of like
was-
helping
yeah.
grow that.
helping grow Charlotte,
Mhm.
all the farm to table stuff finally, landed here, and I did leave to go to Lotus.
Oh, that's right.
So I
yes.
did Lotus while I was in massage therapy school.
So you had already decided
I had decided to leave
chefing.
chefing to, at the time, pursue kind of like a family life. I was
Mhm.
just getting so frustrated with the weekends, the
Mhm.
nights. I felt like my life was literally like being burnt up.
Mm.
I was burnt out and just over the grind, kind of like working so hard for so little.
Yeah. The money was not
The
good.
money wasn't great, and at the time I thought that this could, the massage therapy thing could be a good transition into owning my own business and kind of keeping my own hours and really starting to like have a more settled lifestyle. I talked to Vance, and you remember we had worked
Mhm.
with Vance
Yep.
on Lotus's menu.
Yep.
Um,
You and I had
helped
kind
lay
of
out the kitchen layout.
Yeah, we consulted with his mother a little bit on like
Yeah, so
how things should go in the kitchen and all.
yeah, we kind of set that
Yeah.
restaurant up
Mhm.
basically in the beginning anyway. So
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, I know this, I know these people. So I did the head chef gig there, and that was about a year,
Mhm.
a year and a half while I was still in school, and that was a good experience.
At what point had you and I? Because you and I were planning on opening a restaurant together.
We
Do you remember
did.
that?
The tasting room.
Yeah.
Yeah, we still got the
Do you-
folders.
do you
with
have the folder with all the
the
shit?
drawings and everything? You'll have to get some.
Yeah, I'll get some pictures of that.
stuff.
That's crazy.
But
So
that
we-
was, it was a good thing that we didn't,
Yeah,
because the economy totally tanked
shit
at
the
that time.
bed.
But I think we would have had
A
a
killer.
great fucking restaurant.
Yeah. The design of it was cool.
Yeah, mid-century modern, but
Yeah.
relaxed.
Mhm. And we-
Super approachable menu.
But
but,
upscale and like
upscale.
refined. Like refined food that wasn't fussy or pretentious.
Not pretentious.
Yeah.
That was yeah, even the menus still look great.
Are they down there?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I'm so gonna fucking post that shit.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and
I mean, and we had got to the point on that. I mean, we actually had somebody do some drawings of the space. We were actually looking at the old Ethan spot
Yeah.
where what's it, Kennedy's or whatever
Yeah.
fucking
some
Irish
bar,
bars there
some
now.
bar.
We were making moves to try to secure that lease. I mean, I think we got to the point where we were like really starting to like ask for money.
Yeah, we were. We
were like asking people
we
for
had,
cash.
We had gotten our formed our LLC. We
Yeah.
were, had our
Our
projections.
like projections all dialed.
Yeah, it was everything looked pretty solid. It was going to be tight, but I think we would have made a great team between front of the house, back of the house, and changing roles here and there. I think
it would have been fun.
We would have crushed it.
We would have ended up working so much.
So much.
Dude, we would like. So it's a good thing that didn't happen.
Yeah.
I wish that it had though, man. I still kind of fantasize about it sometimes.
I think I do too. Like, even though I'm out of that world, like,
what
the
if
dream,
the
dream of like either a bed and breakfast, but like it's elevated, or a little place in a sleepy town.
We need to find a way to get like wealthy.
Yeah.
So that we can do these things as projects.
Listen,
like where it doesn't need to sustain your life.
What they want to do when they win the lottery.
Yeah.
I know what I want to do, actually.
Oh, shit. Did you get tickets?
I did not.
Fuck.
But it is a culinary endeavor.
Yeah. Is it?
It is.
What would it be?
I'll put it out there.
You got to manifest it.
Pangea.
What
is the name of it?
Oh.
It is a community center that offers comfort food from all over the world. And each month it would be a place where people could come to learn about a country, dishes from it, and people from that country would come and teach. And each month we would have a charity that we would support through these menu items, indigenous items, and just have it be really a cultural center. And
cool.
Yeah, just expose people to different kinds of food.
Why is that a passion project for you? What's so exciting about that?
Because as close as the world has gotten with technology, it's fractured in so many ways. And I think food's one of those ways that can really bring people together on a very personal level.
Amen.
Brother
Turtle. Preach.
It really is. And I think it could be a place that, really teaches people how to get along with each other.
Totally. I think one of the things, and I'm glad you said that, because in a lot of interviews that I've done lately, people always ask me about like, what's your inspiration, right? Like what inspires you? And for me now, in the past probably 10 years, it's been different cultures. And the reason for that is because I have never traveled. Like I traveled so limited. Like we didn't travel like, in my family. And I think I've been to France and Italy on the same trip once. That's it. Like I've traveled like to Hawaii and stuff, but not like internationally.
Right.
And so there's so much that I don't know about the world. And you can learn so much about people by the way they eat and the things they eat.
Yep.
And that's what drives my creative process now. I remember distinctly when we decided to open a restaurant in Charleston, I was like, all right, cool. I need to like immerse myself in this kind of low country thing and learn about it because I'm from the North.
Yeah.
Like this isn't part of my history or culture or whatever.
Right.
Like I'm just opening a restaurant down here. So I want to learn more about that. And so that led me down the whole like slave culture and like what was that about and that whole history. And then that led me to like West Africa where I started like diving into like West African cooking. And I was like, holy shit. Like there's this whole world of ingredients and techniques and approach that I would have never got to on my own without that culture. And so that like started the thing where I just got fascinated by like food as a means to culture, kind of the way you're talking.
Yeah, it's great. There's so much to learn through that history and how we're all connected and how we got here.
Yeah. And it's interesting how, and then that also leads to the thing about how food products get from one place to the other, right? Like how field peas ended up in the United States. Like they're a huge crop in the South, but they wouldn't even be there if it weren't for the West Africans that were brought here. Right. And they brought this stuff with them because it's what they ate. And now it's like such a staple part of Southern cooking.
Right.
And like, and like the same, I could go down a rabbit hole of like tracing where things have been and how it got there and why. And I think that that's a great way to learn about the world around you.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And it's rich, and it's something that so many people can understand. A lot of things are kind of amorphous, but like everybody's got to eat. Everyone needs to have. Like,
it's a humanizing element, right? It's like we're the only animal that prepares its food. Right? Like all other animals, they just eat what they eat.
Yeah. I mean, otters.
They open. Yeah.
Otters are pretty cool.
They are pretty cool. But I mean, there's a lot of cool. Yeah. Well, I guess there's some seabirds that like, they have to open shells and stuff by dropping them. But I'm saying like actually apply heat to like, to change their food into something else, not just to consume it. Right?
Absolutely.
Not just to get to it. But I do agree with you. Otters are super cool. I'm not taking anything away from that. Yeah, so that's the humanizing part of it, right? And I think if more people learn about food, like you were saying, young people, which is something that I also talked about doing a kids cookbook, which I think you and I should talk about doing. Yeah. Like for little people, about going through like basic stuff, right? Because I think that there's basic food fundamentals that kids can learn to get them engaged in it. Right. Where it will also connect them to this human part of our experience, right? Which is like, we do have to eat. Everybody does. Yep. Even your enemies, the people that are against you, have to eat. Yep. They're also human. You may not have the same goals or whatever, but you're both human, right? And I think some of that might soften some of the shit like you're talking about, the fractured stuff.
And that's
some deep shit.
That's why I will teach Ziggy how to cook and share that love and keep that going,
So Ziggy is your son.
He's my son.
How old is Ziggy?
He's 7.
7-year-old son. How's his palate? I remember when he was a babe, it was not very good.
No, it
was okay.
It was okay, and then
but he would spit some stuff
fully, out. Like I think there was a time when we cooked together where there was
some stuff on the grill.
Lobster. There was sea bass. There was a
plethora of
prawns.
Yeah, we had all
and
kinds.
He ate, and he would eat. He'd eat everything, and it's narrowed. But he actually has a very solid palate, and I get a thumbs up all the way down to a full thumbs down multiple times if it's not good. And if I need balance, I can ask him, what does this need? Salt.
Really? Get out of here.
He knows.
Because that's always the answer.
He knows.
Because he has it.
But he knows like if something's like too like bitter. Like I remember I made some mashed potatoes like last week. He was like in the food mill. It was a new one. I should have gone with a smaller plate.
Okay. Smaller die. Yeah.
And he was like, grainy. They're too grainy.
Oh, you're creating a monster. Like, oh I love it. That's good.
It is good. He knows, and he will eventually learn. Yeah. He's on to PB and J's now.
I love PB and J's.
If you can do that.
So my fiance does not like peanut butter and jelly.
What's up with that?
I'm not sure. Like I'm a little conflicted about it because like I still like them. I actually like them maybe more now than I did when I was a kid.
It's a easy.
Well, now that I know about flake salt, because I put a little flake salt on that thing, dude, and
crunchy crunch.
Poof. Next level, dude. Yeah. It's so good. Yeah. Have you ever toasted your PB&J?
Yes, that is.
I think that was something. That might have been something that we did together with a foie gras
in there too. Oh, yeah.
Didn't we do a foie gras peanut butter and jelly?
Did.
Right?
We totally
that opened up a next
with like huckleberry jam or something like that. That was
good stuff. Okay, so let's get back to it. So you've been out of the culinary field for over a decade.
Yeah.
like 12 years.
12 years.
15.
Well, I still, here's the thing.
Oh no, you came and worked for me.
And I came and worked for you.
You did. I
We
totally
can't forget that.
I know.
We can't forget that.
Okay,
part.
so I recruited you
That's right.
after because you recruited me, and I was like,
how did I forget about that?
I know you forced it out of your brain. You're like, God damn it. And Mandy actually worked for us too.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
I had both of you guys for a little while. She was event coordinator.
Yeah.
She was a baller. I think she was our first event coordinator that we had for our group. But anyways, I recruited you when we opened for lunch.
Yes.
Because you had been out of the culinary field for a minute. You were kind of like starting your practice and stuff.
That's right.
And I was like, I need you. I was like, it was more of a favor.
Yeah.
I was like, I'll pay you whatever I can pay you. Like as much as I can pay you, I'll pay you.
That was great.
But I need somebody to do lunch and only lunch.
Yeah.
Like, because because I was trying to do it all. And I was like coming unraveled, right? I couldn't be there 15 hours a day,
right,
every day. And I was there every day back then. Like I was there 7 days a week. Like I wouldn't leave.
You were there a lot.
Like I wouldn't leave.
Yeah.
But having you there in the morning allowed me not to have to be there in the morning, which was huge because I needed to sleep and you know, pull my life together somehow. So yeah, you were a huge help in that. How was that experience for you?
That was good times. There was not a lot of pressure there. Lunches weren't that crazy. That crazy, and just the being able to check the product in and
get the prep list started.
Yeah,
that was huge.
That was good, and that worked well. Trying to start my own practice.
Because I think you like left at like 2 or something. It was a pretty easy.
It was like after 2, and then like could 8. Take clients. Yeah, and that was great. And I was happy to see you like get your own place and.
Thank you for being a part of it.
Yeah, that was good times. There was some cool food that came through there too.
We were doing really a lot of different stuff then.
Mm-hmm.
Like really trying to push what we were able to do because we were busy too. Like,
oh yeah,
that place was just it reminded me of Blue. Like I was like, we're just getting hammered every day.
Yeah, it was hot. I mean, that was super hot at the time.
Trying to do like that kind of elevated food. Like it's hard. It's hard when you don't have a team that's committed.
Right.
And that's the thing that was tough about my experience at Five Church when we first opened was that I didn't have like you and me and Ben as my sous chefs. I had Kyle, who was awesome.
Yeah.
And he was an animal, but like it was the two of us.
Yeah.
And then my line. And Adam was a part of my line then, which was good.
Right.
But he wasn't.
He just didn't have the chops then.
Yeah.
You whipped him to great shape. What a great story.
Well, he's the future now, right?
Yeah.
Like, so he's gonna, he's just a gangster. And actually probably surpasses a lot of like the management stuff that I ever was interested in. Because that wasn't the part of the thing for me either. Like I didn't want to be a manager. Right. I wanted to create.
It was about the food.
It was about the food.
Yeah.
Like that's like it's all it's about for me. And so having him who is a very good manager, like he's very good at managing people, systems, lists, like organization, like all that stuff is a huge anchor to have. But you were such an important part of that too.
Bubs. It was a good time.
Yeah. So that was probably your last.
Thanks. That was my last. I bowed out gracefully there. Yeah.
Do you ever?
We left on good terms, right?
Of course we did. Yeah, totally. I mean, you didn't walk out on me.
Yeah.
I think you were like, all right, I'm fucking done with this shit. And I was like, thanks for giving me as much time as you did. I knew I was on borrowed time from the beginning.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
But it was good because you got us through the crux of it. Do you ever miss it?
Yeah, I do miss it every once in a while. That camaraderie, the intensity.
Because now you work alone.
I work alone.
On people. Without camaraderie
Yeah, it's a different connection with people. Still something tactile that I can offer somebody and get immediate gratification.
Mm-hmm.
I know they're happy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, or you're helping them.
I help somebody who's
improving
in pain.
their
people with their mobility, their pain management.
And I will say, and I do have to say for the sake of the podcast, that you are excellent at it too.
Thank you.
Because I have needed you.
Yeah, we've worked together, and
you've worked heavily on me.
Yeah.
Like I remember, and this is like ways after you had left Five Church and you were doing just your own practice.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck was going on with me, but like I could not like stand up straight.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't without extreme pain. And you were able to like maintain a level of civility in my body that I was able to like function.
The kitchen's rough on people. I wish there was more that could be done for those folks that
better shoes.
Yeah, better shoes, better ergonomics, all the things.
Yeah.
That wasn't really kind of the MO to take care of yourself. It was like ride hard.
Just get it done. We got to get it done.
Yeah, get it done.
It's so foolish. We spent so much time taking care of other people, right? Like, and you do that now too. So that gene is the same, and what you're doing now
it's
is
derivative. Totally.
Whereas that hospitality of like caring for others,
and it goes back to for full circle with seeing my folks help bring joy to people in some way, and really taking pride and contentment and knowing that you've fed somebody, you've made them happy, you've just helped them out in some way. I think that's why I've loved what I've done, and I carry that same thread in whatever I do. So whatever is next, I'm not sure, but I do. I dream about the the Pangea concept, a small bed and breakfast, or little place to still keep the culinary roots, or at least keep that sense of hospitality alive in whatever I do.
How is cooking as fun and satisfying for you now? Because when I see you cook now, you and I still cook together sometimes. Like we'll do like a cookout or something.
Yeah,
and like just like a little dinner thing.
Yeah.
And you still put like the attention to detail and the focus on the flavors and layering. It's not just like, hey, we're gonna throw some shit on the grill.
Yeah.
It's like there's a very thoughtful idea about what kind of meat are we gonna use? How are we gonna?
I still try to take that approach.
Is it as fun for you now, or is it more fun? What's your relationship to cooking now versus when you did it?
Well, it is a job.
You're the cook.
I am the cook of the family. Surprise. And
Pants isn't whipping up like a 3-course.
She's not. She doesn't want to.
Yeah.
That's why I need Ziggy. I need him to learn. I need a soup. I need a soup chef. But yeah, I do get a lot of joy out of it. And when the pressure's not on, you can really take your time with it, especially with these things like the pizzas, like just going through all the variables that can happen. I still find that a joyful thing, and I like the science of it. I love.
Should we make some pizza tomorrow?
Maybe.
I have a dough bubbling.
Do you really?
I mixed one up. I mixed one up today. I was like, well, I'm up here. I'm in Charlotte. Corey's in Charleston. I was like, I'm just gonna mix up a dough and have a pizza party tomorrow.
If you want to come by, I'll fire up the oven. But it is fun, and it's an essential thing. Sometimes you get lazy, and
so what happens to your dinner when you get lazy? When Turtle's not feeling it, he's not inspired. What's going down for supper?
Oh man. You know,
Like,
it
what's your
sucks.
cop
Even
out?
like
Like,
I can't. You know, I have to like
even
even still put a fucking spin on it. It's
yeah,
gotta be
you
even when
can't
it's
even.
ramen. I'm like, I
Yeah,
gotta do I
yeah,
gotta do a 7-minute egg at
yeah,
least. There's gotta be
yeah.
scallions in it at
Yeah.
least. There's
I gotta
gotta be
garnish this
organic
thing.
soy at least.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
gotta, you
yeah.
know what
Let
I
me
mean?
roasted pork chop or something and slice it
I'll
up.
pull the smoked pork out of the
Yeah.
freezer that I had. You know what I mean?
And
Although I
that's
did,
why, and that's why I wanted to interview, because I've seen this madness.
Yeah.
Like, you can't shake it.
I can't let it go. I
You
can't,
can't
let
shake
it.
it.
I
It's
can't
in
let
you.
it go. Mandy knows it too.
Yeah.
She's like, why can you not just
boil the
fucking
noodles
chill out
and be done.
and have some people over and it's
No.
got to be a whole thing?
Right.
Because I did that from the get-go when I was doing that, you know, in college or whatever. That was like,
Yeah.
it's got to be as good as I can make it.
Right.
Like,
It's like, if you have a jalapeno, you got to slice it.
you
and
got to
put it
do
in
your
there.
best job that you can do. Like,
Where does that come from? And why is that diminishing? You probably don't even know it's diminishing because you work by yourself, doing great work every day on your own.
well, I'm my own hardest critic too. Like if
Most of
I'm
us
not
are.
there, like I'm
Yeah.
rough on myself. Like I didn't deliver.
But I think the workforce, the young workforce that's coming out today, from what I see, is not motivated the same way that we are, or in the same way that you are. I mean, shit, you're fucking jazzing up ramen noodles up here, putting out like
Yeah, I think you can just like.
but young people.
I think
they're
it
not.
probably expands and contracts. There's a lot of factors probably in that work ethic.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, we can't discount the emotional and psychological wreckage that a pandemic like this has brought on us.
Yeah,
Throw in
I don't know that.
political
Yeah,
plot and all the things leading up to it. It's been a really shitty run in a lot of ways, I
Yeah.
think, for the American worker. And I
Yeah.
don't know, you know, from a kitchen standpoint, but I can tell you, even working in a kitchen back in the day, I worked my ass off,
Mhm.
and that's because there was a certain pride that you took in that.
Mhm.
You did not want to appear weak. People would come in sick. People would work 80 hours a week and not get compensated for it. And I think there's a good aspect to that workers do need to stand up for some basic rights that are missing
Mhm.
here, and especially in the culinary world. I don't know what's changed.
Mhm.
I'm sure there's a lot more benefits.
It's definitely changing.
And-
I mean, I think so. A lot of the chefs that I talk to now, and owners and operators, and us included, are I think a lot of it is stemming from the remnants of the pandemic. Right? Is the
Mhm.
realization that our industry almost got wiped out because we had to close.
Right.
And restaurants they're not like banks where there's a pile of money in the basement and you just keep grabbing from it.
You're skating on razor thin
Yeah.
margins
Yeah.
anyway.
And so when you're closed, the place is just dwindling away. And workers are laid off and like all that stuff, and just how volatile the industry was. I think a lot of us became alerted to. We didn't realize it when things are good, right? You're just kind of trucking along,
Right.
living off of the cash flow in restaurants is great because there's hundreds of thousands of restaurants that are busy all the time, and there's money coming in and out all the time, and that's great and healthy, right? So you're not really looking for the problems. And I think the pandemic really highlighted a lot of how broken and fractured the industry was.
Huge
Or
magnifying
is.
glass.
And so and it's changing. Like, we're changing. I know a lot of other chefs are looking for ways to make it a more attractive industry or career choice for
Right.
people. Like, I picked this career because that's how I communicated with people, was through food. And that's how I could nurture people, was through food, because I wasn't doing it just like like socially.
Right.
Right. This was my way to like reach out to people and be human with them.
Right.
Because I really just wanted to punch everybody in the face
Sure.
when I was younger. Right. Like that's all I
Absolutely.
wanted.
Yeah.
So it was the only way I could do that. And so it wasn't about money. It wasn't about career. It wasn't about celebrity or any of that. It was about like, this is how I can function in this world around me,
Right.
successfully. And I think fast forward to now, we have to look at it and say, okay, well, what was true for me, however long, that was a long time ago, is not true for the people today. It's a different environment. And so how do we make this a career where people want to do it?
Right.
Right? Like they want to be in restaurants because it's fun. You make good money. You can have benefits or time off or whatever.
Yeah.
And so that's, I think, the direction it's going.
And that's
is
great. I don't know about, work ethic is one of those things that's, I guess, subjective and I'm not consider myself old, but old timer in the way we were kind of brought up, in those 70s, 80s, 90s is a little bit different than now. And the tricky thing will be with those razor thin margins, how that cost is spread out from purveyors to patrons, and what is the true cost of dining out. When you look at it, if those workers need those things, people need to understand what it costs to truly deliver
Yeah, I think
an artisan meal or even just a
yeah, I think you know what, I'm going to do actually a podcast about that, because I think it's an important, you strike an important point, which is that there's two sides to this thing, right? There's the restaurants and the workers, and then there's the public that dine at the restaurants, right? There's the people who are consuming the service and the people providing the service. Well, the cost of those services is skyrocketed because of the global environment that we're in now, and just the cost of employing people and all that has gone up. Growing food costs more, fossil fuel, like everything costs more. And the people that are consuming the service have an expectation of what it cost what it's worth to them. And there needs to be some sort of reconciliation there, right, between what it costs and what people's expectation is, or what their willingness is to pay. And I think that that's a good question that we need to dive into.
Yeah.
Well, wow, that's fucking deep.
All right. Well, we covered some shallow territory and some deep territory,
territory. Bubs, thanks for coming on my my podcast.
It's been a pleasure, Jamie.
I look forward
I always like chatting with you, Bubs.
I look forward to cooking with you again real soon.
Yeah, let's
privately.
Yes.
Not professionally.
I'll take that.
All right.
All right.
Let's do some pizzas.
All right.
Thanks, Bubs.
Cheers, Bubs.